So many little internet syncs are happening.
Definitely. I think we should be live on everything right now.
That's smooth, Julie. Nice job.
Thank you. So we'll give people a minute to hop on and then we will get started.
Okay. I'll do a little dance. Okay, tell me something good before we start, Julie. What's good right now?
Let's see. So it is February. We're in month 2 of 2025. And I have a good, strong feeling that all the things that I've been hearing about the craziness in the massage world in our business are going to start leveling out now. So that's my good thing for the day. I feel like we're going to start getting in a more even keel. January is always a hard month. So I've been hearing from a lot of massage therapists that they've been having a tough time. Hey, welcome. All right, so let's jump into it.
Okay.
Welcome to the Massage Boss Show, where I get to connect with leaders in the massage community to share all kinds of cool stuff with you. So I'm so happy you're here, and I do these every single month. So if you like these types of chats, you should subscribe to my channel so that you can see more of them. The next talk we're doing, so today we're doing the photo shoot, how to plan a photo shoot for a massage therapist with Linda Caravia, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But I'm really excited about this chat, and I know a lot of people in the community are as well, because we don't talk much about how to do this well, but it is also so important for our businesses. So super excited to have Linda here to talk more about that. And a little bit about me. I'm Julie Campbell, the owner of the Business of Massage, a longtime massage business owner, former massage business owner, I should say, and business coach, teacher. I love working with our community. I'm really passionate about helping massage therapists succeed. And I love doing these types of talks and just generally interacting with the community and adding value any way that I can. So the next chat that we'll be doing is on the 28th with Jordy Stokes. She is a massage business strategist, and we'll be talking about marketing for massage therapists. So stay tuned for that. Again, subscribe if you're interested in checking that one out, and all our future chats as well. And a little bit about this talk. So I'm going to give the floor over to Linda. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her and how we met, but don't hesitate to put your questions in the comments. We want to hear from you. We are going to answer questions at the end. So please pop those in there, and just know that we're going to get to those, and we'll answer all your burning photo shoot questions. So a little bit about Linda. So Linda and I met, I don't even know how many years ago now, when I was teaching at the Oregon School of Massage Therapy. I was teaching business and insurance billing there, and Linda was in the business class. And we just, I don't know, had a vibe. Like, I think our connection was really strong from the minute that we met, and our relationship just continued after that point. And I have so much respect for Linda as an ethics teacher, as a Sarga instructor, as a massage therapist, as a business owner, as a woman, just so many things. And I've learned so much from Linda over the years. So I feel like she's such a valuable member of our community and really has a heart to give back. So if you're watching, this is a big, valuable training, and I'm so glad that you get to hear about this topic from Linda. With that, I will hand the floor over to you and let you tell people a little bit more about yourself.
Julie, thank you. Thanks for having me on the talk. I just reflect all of those beautiful values that you just spoke about. And I appreciate your kind words and the things that you're doing for the community as well, and all of the free offerings. I've been listening to your interviews, and every time that you have an interview with someone, I'm like taking action. And so I just feel like you and all of the people that you're having as guests are really adding so much value and giving back to our community as well. And I just really appreciate you allowing me to be a part of that. And thank you so much. I'm excited that you brought up the marketing talk is it marketing that's happening, the next talk? Because a lot of people that filled out the form to be able to get access to this course would leave thank you everyone for the sweet, sweet comments. There was a lot of excitement about the Photoshoot Planning course. And some of the questions weren't necessarily around planning, but about marketing, because why do we do photo shoots, right? We're going to get into that a little bit, but then a lot of the reason that people want to do a nice photo shoot is so that they can then market their massage therapy practice and target their clients in a way that showcases their modality, their target client, the platforms that they want to use the photos on, and all those things. So once we have our photos, how do we use them? And so what perfect timing. I don't know if you did that on purpose, Julie, but thank you. Because a lot of the questions that I have been getting have been more about marketing. So thank you for the beautiful introduction. And I don't know if there's much more to share. I've really grown into teaching and loving teaching and loving offering free things here and there. So with that said, before I get started on the course, I am doing a giveaway. I was trying to decide if I should do a photo shoot planning course or if I should do a course around this tool that I designed. It's a gua sha tool. There's a large one and a small one. I want to give away a small copper gua sha tool. This sells for $80, and you can see that there's a little bit of patina on it. It's nice and thin. And I just wanted to thank people for joining live. So I am going to give this away at the end. How you can enter to be able to get this is go to my Instagram and send me a message with your email. And at the end, I'll just go through and I'll do a random selection. So my Instagram is @vitalitytmy. Okay. So I'm sure Julie will put that in the chat. I'm going to put my readers on and share my screen so we can get started on the course, because there's a lot to cover. And if there's questions throughout the course, please write them in the chat. Julie's going to check the questions, and anything that I didn't address throughout the course, she's going to let me know, oh, hey, there's this question. I don't think it was answered in the course. So we'll do that before the giveaway. And yeah, thanks for being here. So let's share this screen. So I'm going to press present, share screen, and get straight to the course. And then should I push present?
There you go. Yeah, you can go ahead and present.
That full screen one.
Yeah.
So also, if you notice, yes, I am a Sarga bodywork instructor, and I contacted Sarga Bodywork founders so that they could look at my course and possibly share some of their beautiful photos as well. So I just want to thank them before I get started, because they are so supportive and have inspired me beyond I don't know, just there's so much support in the Sarga community. There are in the massage therapy communities as well. So I just wanted to thank them for that. And then at the very end of this course, you'll see some tips straight from my main photographer that I hire. So the overview of the course is the concept, the vision, and the goals. And I kind of alluded to that. Optimizing your photo shoot, doing a mood board. I know not everybody's going to follow every single step, but a mood board for me is super important. Planning out or thinking about your location, whether it's indoor or outdoor, makes a huge difference. Photographers, like how to choose or how to direct a photographer as far as what you're looking for. I've had some great success with that, and I've had some challenges with that as well. um, building successful photo shoots, vision alignment questions, and that's more around like photographers, models. And then we'll talk about planning, equipment, we'll talk about models, we'll talk about props, your own self-care, and then connecting with me. And then the bonus is the tips straight from my photographer.
Awesome.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So the concept or the vision, if you don't have a concept or a vision, like some of these can be done in different order. So sometimes I just look at my year marketing wise and I'm like, I know I need to do a photo shoot. Here's the date. And then I come up with a concept or the vision. Sometimes I have the concept or the vision first, and then I come up with the date. So some of these things, it doesn't have to be so strict as far as like the order in which that this is planned out. But if you just take a minute, and for those that have access to this course, everyone can have access to this course. So you'll see these questions. You don't have to answer them now, but I'm just going to invite you to ask yourself what the goal of your photo shoot would be. Is it for social media, website photos? What's like the main thing you want to use your photos for? Because that makes a difference in the orientation for the photographers. Do you want reel covers? Do you want to create courses? Do you need photos for a PDF? Another question is, what do you want to capture and about your work and why? So for example, last year, I wanted to capture more like intraoral photos. I wanted to capture some more floor-based massage photos. And then the why was because that was something I was learning and focused on. So what do you love to do? And how does it need to be captured in film or in a photo? Now, this is definitely a photo shoot planning course, but I have done film as well. And the planning part of it is similar. And then, can my photos tell a story or showcase my work that will achieve my goals? So, okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to keep going. So optimizing your photo shoot, it's a huge investment in time and resources. And so for my best, I guess advice would be to aim for different images and utilize various platforms. So for my photos, I try to use them on my website. I try to use them for social media. Like I try to get different arrangements. And so that way I can use them on every platform and not just like one. And that's not something I really thought about before as far as like the orientation of the photos and then what is actually captured. So I usually do 1 to 3 outfit changes for myself and sometimes the model, depending on if they're wearing clothes. Like if your photo shoot is more complex, I think having a friend there or hiring an assistant is a great way for you to kind of have someone that's a support person that can direct and coordinate your shoot. I have personally been that person at photo shoots. I have worked with different brands, and so I know what that's like to like fix their hair, tell them to like take a deep breath and like relax their smile or look up and out into the distance or whatever the thing is that will just make that photo just a little bit better that the friend can see and communicate in that moment. And then you're like, oh, thank you so much. So also it like almost every photo shoot, I update and get a fresh headshot because my hair is different or I'm a year older or whatever the thing is. And so it's a great time to get fresh headshots. Okay, let's keep going. So for a mood board, the reason that I do mood boards is sometimes I get like inspiration from, obviously you can see from Sarga Bodywork. A couple of these photos are mine and a couple of them are Sarga Bodywork the founders' photos, and they're just dreamy. And I was like, Oh, I would love to plan a photo shoot around, maybe it's around a modality, maybe it's around a color scheme, maybe it's around an outdoor setting, but I just start pulling photos into, it's kind of like a vision board or a mood board, but this is a common practice in professional photo shoot settings. So if you were to have a meeting with your photographer, you could use something like creating a Pinterest board. Milanote is a website where you can pull together many photos and put them in a mood board. You can even just use a Google document. But that way, when you meet, you're prepared to talk with the photographer about like, here's my vision, like, and so you're co-creating with your photographer and even your models. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Did you have something?
No.
Okay. So scout your location. So this bottom photo is in my office back here. And so when I'm in my office, I have like total control over everything, every piece and every detail that you see. Like I go through and I'll like, oh, do I want that in the background of the photo? Yeah, I do. Like the things that are in the background are intentionally there. I don't just like shove stuff in the corner if ever possible. Like I really detail it out. Now, you can see Jiva is in the, the ocean's in the background and the sand, and it looks beautiful. But guess what? Right now, she's probably got a little bit of sand on her feet, unless she had an assistant running out and wiping off her feet. And that table will sink in the sand. And there's all kinds of little details that we need to think about when we're doing an outdoor photo shoot. So when I'm doing an indoor photo shoot, everything is like, it's already my space. I already have it dialed in the way that I want. I don't have to worry about sand or wind or people in the background. I just think it's important to find a location that fits your concept, your budget, something that your team can, easily get to. And then you consider, the lighting, the background, the timing, when the sun is at a certain distance. You don't want like overhead sun like right in your eyes, because you'll be squinting the whole time. So just starting to consider obstacles as well, so that when the day comes, you're prepared. And we'll talk a little bit more about what to do if you're doing an outdoor photo shoot and your table starts sinking, because Sarga actually had something to say about that. A little tip. Okay, so here's their tip is if you're shooting on uneven ground, you can adjust the legs on the portable table, and you can bring, I think they said 4 small platforms to put underneath each leg of the table. And then they push sand over the top so you don't see those extra platforms, which for them, it was just little pieces of plywood. And so there are things to think about. Like you don't see any little feet prints on the sand, like all the people that help set that table up. So these are, if you're ever doing an outdoor session, these are things that, like, reasons why you'd want to go there first, and you'd want to look around. Like if you're doing one on a trail, are there people that are going to be walking by, or things like that, or in the woods, or wherever you want to do a photo shoot. But sand and barefoot massage photo shoots I've done them. They're a little bit challenging. They're beautiful. Look at that beautiful photo.
Gorgeous.
It's stunning. Yeah. So, okay. All right, let's move on. Indoor, let's see. My tips for that were the lighting is paramount. So right now you can kind of see, like in my space, there's overhead lighting, and it's not hitting my face like beautifully, and it doesn't look the most fantastic in photos. And so when I have a photographer, we turn off all the overhead lights and we open up all the windows, and we plan it at a time where the sun's at the right angle, so that there's natural lighting. So it looks really, it's like lighting is pretty much everything to a photographer, and they are usually, the photographers I've worked with are pretty picky about the lighting, and sometimes they have to bring in extra lighting or reflective equipment so that they can get the angles just right. So that way there's less like editing that they have to do if there's a light hitting you a funny way and it makes your nose look like it's two noses or whatever. Like, it's just so important to get the lighting right. So I'll just leave it at that. For indoor photography, it's a little bit easier, but if you can have natural lighting, that's the best. And there's always like, one last thing I'll say is I've rented studios when I personally haven't had natural lighting in my office. I have actually gone on to different websites and I've rented, I forgot the local website here where you can go to a photography studio, and it could be in a cool building or whatever, and you bring your table and you bring everything, and then there's natural lighting. So that's always an option. I feel like if you're going to invest in a beautiful photo shoot, if you can, like the spaces I've rented were only like, I want to say like 50 or 75 an hour. And I was really happy with how those turned out when I didn't have my own space that had natural lighting. So I'm going to keep going. So with photographers, so here's the thing is I was spoiled for a little while where the photographer that I use the most, she has a lot of experience working with wellness professionals. Wow. So she's a person that's in the wellness community in my city. And because she's so just great at it, when I hire her, I don't have to tell her, please capture what I'm doing with my hands or my feet or whatever. Like I do go through my shot list with her. I create a shot list. I go over my vision board. I tell her like, here's the photograph that I want. But then it becomes up to her as far as like the angle, where to stand, the photography, the expertise that she brings, I don't have. But on the flip side of that, and you know, this is just part of the learning process for me, and there's nothing wrong with this learning process. But one of the challenges I've had before is spending a lot of money on a photo shoot, and the photographer has never worked with a body worker before, and therefore they're more concerned with the overall picture rather than capturing what it is that you're actually doing with the client, your modality. And so when I've gotten the pictures back, like after spending $1,000 or whatever it is, then I'm like, oh, I love the way the picture looks from a distance, but if a client were to see the photo, they would wonder, well, what are you doing with your hands? The colors are beautiful, or, you know, so it is really important to, if you are going to work with someone who's never worked with a body worker before, is to show them an example photo, show them an inspiration photo. And if there aren't any, really communicate well, like, yes, I love when the lighting is beautiful, and I need you to capture what my fingers are doing intraorally, or whatever the thing is that you're trying to capture. Make sure that that's communicated very clearly so that they understand the priority of what they're hired for. Because when people go to photography school, there's a lot of different elements that go into capturing a beautiful photo, which I don't even know. But your goals and paying attention to the photographer's questions, ensuring that they know what's expected. And I know that framing something in that way, it's like, okay, here I am, I'm making my shot list, I'm giving an example photo, I'm explaining what's expected. Well, okay, so it's okay to have this list. It's normal in the photography world to create a shot list. It's almost expected by professional photographers. They want to know, you know, what it is that you expect so they can meet your expectations. Sometimes, or I should say, when I was really brand new with hiring photographers, I made my list and I didn't give examples, but the photographer was just so excited that I even had a list because that photographer was very good. But he told me that a lot of times people just show up and they expect him to direct the therapist or the people that he's photographing, because photographers, like, they're not also your like director. Does that make sense? Like, sometimes people expect the photographer to be the director of the photo shoot and take the photos. And that's actually two separate things. And so when he said that most times people show up and they're like, I don't know, take a picture of me doing this. I don't know, what should I do? And the photographer is like, I don't know, this is your photo shoot. I'm just your photos. And so if you have this like plan going into it, and it doesn't have to, I am very elaborate, like I'm very detailed. It doesn't even have to, like when I first started creating plans, I just made a shot list, like get a picture of me cupping, get a picture of me, doing yoga, whatever it is. And that was even better than what he'd expected. So planning is important. You don't have to go to the nth degree like I do. I just really want to get the most for my money. So normally I have 2 hours with a photographer, and that's like the time that they give me. They're like, I'll shoot you, for 2 hours. And if I'm going to have 2 hours with a photographer, I mean, I'm going to make sure that I get the photos that I want. And I'm going to be prepared. I'm not going to waste 1 minute of the time. Like, we might have a bathroom break, but it is bam, bam, bam. And so I am very prepared. And that might seem overwhelming for some people to have to be like that. You don't have to be that way. Even if you just created like a vision board and a shot list, that would be a great way to get started and then get some experience with photo shoots. Okay. Once so this part where it says trust and surrender, that during the photo shoot that everything has been done, the day of the photo shoot is the day that I have weird smiles. Like, I'm kind of like, like I'm getting photographed. So you're like, it's so in your, like, it's kind of like someone's seeing every pore in my face. And like, you have to like hire a photographer that you can be seen in front of, in your mistakes, in your flaws, in your weird, quirky sense of humor. My photographer knows a specific word that makes me laugh, and I won't say it on here because it's not like the best word in the world, but for some reason when I hear this word, it like makes me laugh. And then she says it, and then bam, 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 she's taking photos, because that's when you're getting the most genuine smile. It's not when you're posing, but when you have that relationship with someone. And there's a vulnerability that comes with that, is that she sees me when I'm not feeling my best, right? So there's this moment of like surrender, of like, okay, I've done everything that I can do. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to get the nerves out. I'm going to hire someone that I really care about, that cares about me as much as I can. Maybe we don't know everybody. And then I'm just going to surrender to this moment. And then this authenticity will start coming through in the photos. When you get them back, you're like, oh, I'm so glad that I just like let that go, or let the little voice in my head that's trying to control everything, I just like let that go. I did everything and I prepared. So that's a little mindset important point that I wanted to make. Okay.
I love that, Linda. Yeah, that's a great point.
Thank you. Okay, next slide. So building a successful photo shoot, I just said it starts with, it doesn't have to start with that, but for me, it starts with choosing a photographer whose their styles align with my vision. And so you can scout out, like you can go on the photographer's websites and you can say like, ooh, they tend to do this type of a filter, or they do this type of a photo shoot. Like, you can really like interview photographers. and kind of see what their style is. Usually you can draft an email agreement, outline expectations. You can have a formal contract. Most professional photographers have a formal contract that they will have you sign. That's really normal. And you usually pay in advance. So I'll just put that out there. So there are some photographers that will, in the middle of the photo shoot, they'll break out their iPhone and then get a quick video, which is really nice if they send that to you. Like maybe they've taken a few photos and you're not ready to change the thing that you're doing. And then they will take out, not every photographer will do that. Some of them will. And it's more of like an spontaneous in the moment thing that sometimes happens. But whether or not they do that specific thing, you do need to discuss deliverables. So how many edited images and or videos do you have access to the rough footage? What format are you going to get? So all these things need to be discussed before you send the contract, before you hire that photographer. Let them know, are you using them for print, social media, for banners, like what kind of close-ups and what wide angles do you want? And that's why having a shot list is really important, because sometimes if I'm standing on the table, I want the photographer to be a little further away so they can capture the environment, right? With some of the photos, I want them to see specific details. So I want them to like zero in on like this specific thing that I'm doing so that they can capture that. So clarify copyright, ownership, usage, all of that beforehand. I have hired a photographer, and when I received the photos back, her logo was all over them. And I was like, I can't use these. I don't want your logo on all my photographs. Like I'm not. So we didn't iron out that detail before I hired her. And she did go back and take off her logo, but it was written across the bottom of every single photo. And I was like, oh, like I don't want that. And so just make sure the inclination is that we think that everyone like knows what is expected, and they don't. So just make sure that you're like clarifying the details, the time constraints, and if they're like contingency plans, like if there's a weather change, if the photographer, doesn't have batteries and they run out of batteries on something, they should be the type of, photographer that carries extra batteries, and maybe they have an assistant. So that's why hiring a professional photographer is super important. But you could even ask them, like, have you ever run out of batteries in the middle of a photo shoot? Do you always bring extra batteries? Like most of them will be like, oh yeah, I totally, but every once in a while, depending on who we're hiring, every once in a while, the person will be like, oh no, everything always goes great. I just think it's important to have clear communication, align expectations with your photographer or videographer or whoever you're hiring, and just make sure that you're clear on the project so that your investment it's not just money, but it's time, all this time preparing and envisioning. And I want you to get your photos back and be so so happy that you spent the time to invest in it. Like I said, not just with money, but with time and energy. It's a lot of energy. And like we do this out of passion for our business and passion for what we do and excitement and inspiration. And we want it to turn out. And so how we get it to turn out is creating a plan, in my opinion. Okay. All right. So here's some questions that you can ask your photographer. I almost feel like I'm going to save this for people to ask themselves, like everyone who watches this video will get access, if you want, to my course on Canva. I just like created this because I was like, this is something I really enjoy. I love this, but I don't want to go through every single question because we've kind of talked about most of the points. But if you wanted to, before your actual photo shoot, go through like for logistics and all of the rights and usage and all the equipment and preparation, all these things, I think this would be an important page to actually answer the questions before your upcoming photo shoot. So I'm just going to not read through every question and let you know, yes, you can have access to this course. Okay. So for planning, I create a time plan. You don't have to do this. This is like above and beyond stuff here, like because I am very like, if I've got 2 hours, I will create a PDF and I'll create like, okay, I'm going to greet my models from this time to this time. I want them in these outfits. We're going to capture these 4 photos. I'm going to be in this outfit. And then at such and such time, we're going to change outfits. Like I create the whole 2 hours, like for in little segments. And that way, when I'm in the photo shoot and my mind is like racing because I want to make sure everything is going the way that I want it to go, because I'm also the director of the photo shoot. Now, if I hired a director, then I could just give them the plan and I wouldn't have to think about it. I could be like, okay, where do you want me? Okay, where do you want me? But because I'm a smaller business and I'm directing my own photo shoots, I create a whole PDF plan and then I insert example photos and then I print it out. So the day of the photo shoot, we just follow the plan. So easy. So I know that's like above and beyond, but my photo shoots turn out really seamless and I think well because of the planning part. So, okay. So I also anticipate what could go wrong. So incremental weather, maybe my model is late, maybe I don't know, maybe she forgot her hair tie. You know, like I think about different things that could go wrong. And I try to think about, okay, make sure I have a little first aid kit. If someone cuts you never know. Maybe someone forgot equipment. So what do I have to do in that moment? That's not as big of a thing that I've come across, but it's kind of like if I have a plan, a contingency plan for like, oh, okay, I have to pivot, then I just know like, okay, well, I do have a couple ideas of what to do. Like if it starts raining, let's go into the forest or like whatever the idea is. Maybe it's that you have to change the day, which hopefully you don't have to, but things happen. So just take a deep breath and be able to pivot and just know you have a plan. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. For equipment and tools, I put Sargus silk and the attachment and the sanitizer spray and stuff like that. Your work could be totally different. Maybe you want to bring your cups, or maybe you want to bring like the cute little gua sha tool that I'm going to give away. That's the one that's actually in the photo. So along with that like detailed list of like, you know, the first 10 minutes we're doing this thing, I will also list out like maybe it's on the side or maybe wherever on your form, but I list out all the equipment I can think of that I might need, especially if I'm traveling. So I think it's a good idea because I just feel like there's always like one thing I wish I would have had. And if I would have remembered to bring it, I would have like enjoyed that a little bit more. So, okay, that's enough about that. So I definitely want to talk about models because this is so important. When you have like really great people around you, you're having fun. Like, like, I've had to where like people I've hired before, they'll show up, and sometimes they're just like off with their mood or something, and it can affect the whole photo shoot. And that hardly ever happens because I'm so protective of my energy during the photo shoot, and I'm really, really choosy who I bring into my space, because for me, and this might not be true for anyone else, but for me, a photo shoot's very vulnerable. So they're going to see me directing the photo shoot, and I want them to not see me as somebody who's like, oh, she's overbearing and bossy, and I worry about weird things during the time of a photo shoot. So I always hire. I don't just expect my friends. I hire. I do a model release. I let the person know what to expect. Like, hey, you know me on this other level, either as your friend or whatever it is. During the photo shoot, I'm going to be like super on time because we have 2 hours, and my models are always so positive. They're so reassuring. They're like, no, we love that about you. You're so organized, da, 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 da. So some people love that organizational skill, and not everybody loves it. Usually photographers love it because they go in, they have less is being put on them because they want to deliver the photo. They don't want to have to direct the photo shoot. So they love it when I'm very organized. But sometimes I worry, oh, people are going to see me, as because I'm barking orders. Like, that's in my mind what I'm doing, but in their minds, they're like, oh, we're so glad that you're organized and that you've got it together. And so it's a vulnerable thing. I just wanted to speak that. It's just so vulnerable to have someone, at least for me. Other people might not feel this way, but for me, I need that positive energy, and the people around me during the photo shoot, it matters. So that's right with that. And then I pay my models. I use model release forms. I also give them direction about the photo shoot, and I give them an advance notice of like the kind of shots that I want. And so they know what to expect. If they're wearing clothes, I'll send them like a little color palette. Like, here's like in this series, you're going to be wearing shorts. And in this series, you won't be wearing anything at all. And in this particular section, I like it that, you have cool nails or whatever. Like, those little details to let the person know. Especially things like, please don't wear mascara. If they're going to be face down, that would be nice, because as soon as they move their face, there's just mascara, and you don't really want that in the photo. So there's like little details, and a little tip for that would be to do all your supine photos first, and then do your prone photos if you can arrange it that way. Okay, let me keep going. Let's see. Props is kind of like when we talked about tools. I mentioned outfit changes. One thing I've used in some photos are books in the background, or books that I'm reading, or pieces of paper. Beverages, like not just for us to drink during a break, but also just beverages that are like in a photo. Sometimes I'll use those as props as well, or flowers. Okay, and keep going. And then before, during, and after, I would encourage people to do some self-care, get a massage. Every time I have a big photo shoot, I have a massage the next day. I don't do it that same day, but I have a massage the next day. And I go to someone here that offers me a 3-hour massage. So
Amazing.
spent by the time the day is over, and I'm like physically like, oh my God, I can't believe I wonder if my mind is like spinning. Did I do everything I could have done? And so I make sure to get a massage the next day, like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then let's see. I think that's pretty much all I really wanted to say, is just try to get as much rest as possible. I've had one photo shoot where I went and got my hair done before the photo shoot itself, and that was such a good investment that day. Just because I had like one less thing to think about or to do, and my hair looked better. If makeup and hair is something that's really important, then if you can have someone do it. I usually do my own makeup just because I don't want it to be like different. I don't want to look too much different than how I am, but my hair, it was really nice to have my hair done one time. And you don't have to do that every time. It just depends on like how much do you want to invest, right? Because that was another expense. Okay. Here's how to connect with me. So for those who want to be entered into the giveaway, which I want to do while we're on this call. So what I'd like to do is stop sharing my screen, ask Julie, she's been monitoring the chat, and see what questions have come up for people that I can answer. I know there were 2 that were actually sent in through email. But while we're doing that, if you can go to my Instagram, which you can probably see it right there, IG @vitalitytmy. So send me your email address in case you're the winner, and then I can get your mailing address. I can send you this tool, this gua sha tool. I have an in-person gua sha class coming up in May, and I thought, oh, I'll just give away a tool, because I designed these tools and I love them, and they're made of like pure copper, and the way that they're shaped is, you can, anyway, I love this tool, and I want to give one to someone. They're worth $80. And I think I will leave, like, as far as the rest of this course, there's a bonus section with tips from the photographer, which basically they are pretty much what I've already talked about, but they come straight from her. And so you're going to maybe think, oh, Linda's a crazy, like, structured, organized person. But actually, when you hear it from the photographer's point of view, you're really making their job so much easier, and you're just going to hear her tips straight from her. And Kat is actually the main photographer. I took that picture of her when we were at the sand dunes, and she did a sand dune photo shoot for me. And she's wonderful, and works with a lot of wellness professionals here in Portland. I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay. So go to Linda's Instagram. I just popped it into the chat again, and send her your email, because we're actually going to draw the winner while we're on the call. In the meantime, I'm going to ask your questions. I have quite a list here.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with the ones that we got on while we're live, and then I'll end with the ones you got outside of here.
Okay.
So the first one is, how do you get your best angles in a photo shoot, even if you're not really feeling like you look your best? And I reworded it just a little bit, but it was from someone in the group who's maybe not feeling like they're looking their best right now, but they still want to do a photo shoot right now. Yeah.
So I would say lighting is everything. I would tell the photographer what you're insecure about. So for me, I have some insecurities about my teeth, because I have like one that's fake and one that's not fake. And the not fake tooth it gets stained more than the other tooth. And then the way that the light catches it, it just makes me cringe. And I didn't want to I like had an accident when I was a little kid, and it killed this tooth right here. Anyway, just to speak on some vulnerability there. So I don't always feel my best with that. So I will tell the photographer, like that is something that bothers me, and it's just part of like who I am, and I have to it's just is. So I have to do some reflection on, like, okay, I am this person that has these imperfect things, and that I have to just like find a way to be okay with that. But I can also ask the photographer, when you're catching the light with the photos, maybe I'll have my mouth closed if it's a photo that's like really close in with showing imperfections, or like how can we accommodate something so that I can feel a little more comfortable? Maybe when I look down, I'm 53 now, so my skin's like more, if I'm looking down, like if I'm looking up, it's like all kind of tight and back. And, like there's little things that a photographer, if they know our vulnerabilities and the things that we're a little worried about, it's a lot easier for them to make an adjustment. Personally, I don't like to do a lot of editing and photoshopping. Not only does it make the photography experience like harder for the photographer after and more expensive because the editing can be a lot, but when you get a photo back and it's not you, it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't really like translate that well in my opinion. So as long as like they know my vulnerability before, then like I just have to surrender sometimes and be like, okay, well, I'm not perfect.
Right. Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you. And I hope that answered your question. Feel free to follow up if not. And then what do you typically pay models? So keeping in mind, I know this is going to be different based on your location, all of that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So anywhere from 50 to 100 an hour.
Awesome. Straightforward.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I try not to do trades with them because there's a weird energy for me to do a trade with anyone. And I like to just pay people for their work. I like them to pay me for my work. I know not everyone has that same feeling. And so I like very clean and clear. I pay my models. I don't know, maybe it's from working at Nordstrom or whatever. I don't mean to name drop or anything, but for years I worked there. And the motto when I worked there was under promise and over deliver. And so my models always get some sort of a gift. And so does the photographer. And I want people to be delighted that they worked with me, and not just for the cash that they got, but the fact that they had an experience. So a lot of times I hire other massage therapists and you would kind of think like, oh, they might feel competitive and not want to help you and be in your photos for a business. But there are plenty of massage therapists that are like, I want to support you and I love doing your photos. And the one that I use a lot, Katrina, you'll see her in a lot of my photos. She has a thriving business. Like she has no problem being my model, and she doesn't do a lot of marketing. So she thinks it's kind of fun to see the behind the scenes. She gets to see exactly how I plan photo shoots. And she's like, Linda, I learned something every time I come to one of your photo shoots. And she's just got this like, I don't know, angelic energy to her. And that is who you want, right? You want somebody who's like supporting you, supporting your business, and they also get paid and they also are delighted to do the work. So I hope
love
that's,
that.
yeah.
Quickly, I'm going to pivot here because it looks like Hannah was trying to message her email to you or I'm sorry, I don't mean to, I don't know your pronouns, their email to you on Instagram, but it states that the message won't go through your account's not accepting new message requests. So I just want to put that out there to you so you can take a look at it.
Oh, okay. For Hannah?
Yes.
So I've gotten quite a few and they're going to like a message request folder, it looks like. Okay. So yeah, I've got like 8 people that have request. So I'll just put Hannah, since she did that in the chat, I'll put her on the list and then I'll just like randomly draw names. Maybe I'll do that while you're wrapping up, and then I'll let everybody know the winner.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So if you've had that issue, maybe just pop your name in the chat and we'll get you on the list. So how do you deal with weather changes if you do have a situation, I know you mentioned one
Yeah.
possible way to deal with that, but thought I'd throw that one back out there for you.
Okay. This one's tricky. For indoor photo shoots, it's never a problem.
Right.
For outdoor photo shoots, I remember I did one at Sovi's Island, and there's a beach, there's a field, there's trees. Like, it's such a diverse landscape. And it was so cold. That's one thing I will say. It could be cold. The weather could be like awful, and then you're going to be posing, right? Like, that's
Or
something.
burning hot. Yeah, one of the two.
Like,
Yes.
I was in some of the photos where we actually went to the sand dunes in at the coast. You'll see my feet have zero, like, they're white because it was so cold. And also, what happens is your body kind of cringes, and the photos don't, like, some of the photos I could tell I was like this. It was so cold. So even if it wasn't pouring down rain, that was a challenge just to be that cold. Um, my model, I wish I could tell you the story about my model. She was so funny. Models are everything, you guys. So that's one thing. So back to the question is, sometimes you have to change the day. My photographer, is on a specific weather app, and she's like looking at every like hour and how the weather is, like, she's like monitoring it like that. Like, sunrise, it'll be this type. She does a lot of sunrise and sunset photos. And sometimes, like, for the one that we did at the coast, we drove down, rented an Airbnb, and stayed the night. So it would have been really hard to just change the day. Like, I had already paid for the Airbnb. Like, it was a very expensive photo shoot. So that one I couldn't have changed the day, but as it was sprinkling, like, we had to like move a little underneath like a tree or something. Like, sometimes we just had to hurry up and get the photo. And sometimes because we did two different days. And then one time, like, we were in this like little divot, and the wind was going crazy, and the sand was coming in our eyes, and we were like, oh my gosh. So sometimes the best thing to do is, one, change the day. If you can't change the day, get a sense of humor because, like, it can be kind of wild. Like, sometimes you have to be able to just like, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what's happening now. And how
Yeah.
hilarious that weird thing just happened. And that guy's yelling at us. And I don't know. Like, sometimes you have to just have a sense of humor.
Definitely. That's probably like your overarching motto, right?
Yeah, I think that's really
Okay.
important because things are going to go wrong at
Yeah,
some point,
absolutely.
right? I'm writing
Okay.
down names so that I can.
Okay, cool. I'll try to get through these last few questions so that we have like a couple minutes to do the drawing. So, okay, I see one that I think is really important. What's the
Okay.
best color for an LMT to wear?
Oh, so I looked into color psychology, and that's how like, if you look behind me, you can see my office space. And there's a lot of velvet, a lot of like texture in my office. And I would encourage you to stay true to yourself, number one. So if you're a gothic massage therapist, which I have a very light and airy space, and a lot of massage therapists have like kind of dark and gothic or oceanic. Or so, number one, stay true to yourself. Like, you don't have to be a carbon copy of anyone else. Number two, it's really challenging for photographers to do a photo shoot in a dark space. I worked in a space where the other massage therapist, she was kind of like the yin to my yang. So I was light and airy, and her space was black walls and a very like dark cocooned gothic. She listened to hard rock while she did her massages with people. She was super, super cool. And like, if you're going to give a vibe of your space and you don't really want it to be super off of what what you are, because then clients will come in and like, let's say you did a bright and airy photo shoot, but you're like all gothic and you listen to hard rock, they're going to be shocked, right? So you really want to stay true to your vibe. That said, you could look into color psychology. So in photos, like if you look at like the Target ads, they're red, right? So anything that draws your eye in and is it very exciting and almost like on to the point of like drawing attention, a lot of advertisements have red in them. I don't do that because I don't want that vibe to come through as much in my photos. So you might see like tones of like copper. But I would encourage anyone to number one, stay true to yourself. Number two, look into color psychology. What colors do you gravitate towards? What makes you feel good? And what is your target client? Like, what did they like as well? And I know that's really hard to pinpoint. Like, what do target clients like? They're going to like your vibe, I guess. Whatever color like that looks good with your skin, that looks like you.
Yeah.
I hope that's a good answer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we have a few more questions, but I think what I want to do, since we're getting close to the end of the time, is for people who have to hop off, let's go ahead. If you're ready to do the drawing, we can. If not, I can do a little wrap-up chat. We can do the drawing, and then if you have time, Linda, we can stay on and answer these last few questions, and then we can wrap up the call after that.
Well, I just wrote down all the names, so give me a second to get them. I wrote down all the names of everybody who messaged me on Instagram. So give me a second to separate these names so that I can then pick a piece of paper. So maybe you can do your wrap up.
Yeah, we'll
message.
do that.
Okay.
You got DJ and Hannah as well, right? DJ's under Daybreak Massage and Healing.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me make sure. Yes, okay. I have Dawn though under Daybreak Massage, but okay.
Okay, perfect.
All
okay.
Right. I'm gonna
do that, and I'll do a little wrap up while you're doing that, and we'll come back.
Perfect. I'm gonna go get some scissors. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. So we'll come back to, there's just a few questions left, so I don't want you to feel like your question's not going to get answered. We will come back to that at the end. So even if you have to leave early, it's okay. We'll have it on the recording. But in the meantime, I'll just give you a little bit of the wrap up, and then we'll come back and do the drawing and those final questions. So first of all, thank you so much for joining today. It has been so nice to learn about all of this. And I don't know about you, but I feel pretty energized about doing a photo shoot. It's probably not something we think about every day, and maybe not even something that's on your radar to do soon, but you can always revisit this. I'm going to share the links again for Linda's site where you can find the class, and also her Instagram. And some other links just around how you can reach out to us and all of that kind of thing. So we're both here to support you in any way that you need. And then again, I just wanted to remind you that I'll be doing these talks every month. So the next one is on the 28th with Journey Stokes. She's a massage business strategist, and we'll be talking about marketing for massage therapists. So there will be some gems in there, and maybe even some ways to use the amazing photos that you get from your next photo shoot, which I think is a great tie-in. So all you have to do is subscribe to the channel, then you'll get notifications about those upcoming chats that I'll be having, and you'll be able to stay in touch generally. So again, thanks for being here. I'll pop all those links into the chat so that you have them, and we'll get to the drawing.
Okay, so everybody who sent me a message, I wrote down the name of the account or the first name. So I don't know like which one. What do you think, Julie?
What can I count from like your top finger over? Let's do number 7.
So from this side or this side?
You pick.
Index. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one's Michelle. So Michelle Reed.
Congratulations.
Michelle Reed, I am going to respond to your message and get your address. I would like to get this out today. And I'm going to send you this $80 gua sha tool. I'll send you the care of these. If you, just so you know, Julie, if you mix vinegar and salt, it like takes off all the patina, but some people really like the patina.
I like that. I like that
You
style.
do?
That's good to know. Yes. Yeah.
And I would love to connect with anyone that wants to connect with me further. I have an online gua sha course. I have an in-person gua sha course coming up. You have access to this photography planning course. And I'm just really honored that you would spend time with me and listen to what I had to say regarding photo shoots. And I know it's probably a lot of information. So thank you for hanging out in there and with us. And I hope everybody has an amazing day. And I'll just stay on if we want to continue answering questions or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up with those final questions. And anyone who isn't able to stay, you can catch the recording for those. Thanks for participating and thanks for asking the questions as well. So how do you help direct the photographers to get the images you want without getting too nitpicky?
Okay. It's okay to be nitpicky. They like it usually. Whenever I've worked with like bigger brands, I won't do name dropping because I've worked with a couple of bigger brands that have like photography companies come in, and I've helped one. I was a model for one of those brands. Another one, I assisted the photographer. And these were like big name brand companies that anyone would know in the country. And I've also helped a famous person. And what you really want is like massage therapists were like so sweet. We're just like sweet people usually. I mean, that's like normally. So first, it's okay to be picky.
Yeah.
This is your money that you are spending. It is okay to say, here's what I'm looking for. A professional photographer wants that from you. I understand the inclination to ask this question because this last photo shoot that I had, I looked dead at my, like dead in the face. I hate to use that word dead, but I looked straight in my photographer's face and my models. And I was like, was I really bossy today? Because I felt like, oh my God, I planned it. I had all these example photos. I was super specific. And in my head, I started to worry about that. And the photographer looked at me and she goes, I expect that. That is the expectation. When people hire me, this is what I expect. And I was like, oh, okay, good. And then the models were like, yeah, it was fun. Like they didn't have to think about it. Like they were like, they just showed up. They had a good time. We said some silly words. I fed them. I gave them gifts. They got paid. Like everybody got paid. So it's okay to be super specific.
So throw that out the window. You're not going to be too nitpicky. Yeah.
I think
okay. On average, how much time do you set aside for a photo shoot? And do you do a whole Sarga session or just certain positions?
Okay, so this probably came from the Sarga community, and the answer is going to apply to everybody. So it depends on your goals for the photo shoot. So usually a photographer will tell you, I will be there for 2 hours, or I will be there for 4 hours, and here's my rate. And then it's up to you to plan how you spend that time. It's kind of like they are giving you their full attention for that time period, and they are on. Like if they're late, you know what I mean? Like if your photographer is late, they should extend, like if they're 15 minutes late, they should probably be there 15 minutes longer because you hired them for 2 hours. And so that's already agreed upon before they even arrive. And then the second half of the question about like how to
do a whole session or positions.
I mean, I have done entire photo shoots just of me doing a Sarga 90-minute routine on a client, and the photographer just got whatever they got, and I wasn't super specific, and the photos turned out great. However, this last photo shoot that I did, I was super specific. Like, I made 4 different stations in my space, and I have a bigger space, so I could do that. I had a station at my table, I had a station on the floor, I had a floor table set up, and then I had a seated thing. And so I listed out what photos I wanted to get at each different station, and then what outfits we were all going to change into and wear, and what, like, and then I also downloaded from the internet example photos. And the result was like, I will probably always do it this way. And it was so specific. However, I might change my mind. Maybe I want a more casual photo shoot, and I want it to just free flow. However it happens, it happens. But I will tell you, like, the more specific that I have gotten in my photo shoots, the happier I've been with the result. And I get the photos I'm looking for because I have an example, and I printed out everything, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's the next thing? Because sometimes in the middle of a photo shoot, we're so caught up in the moment, we forget what the next thing we wanted to capture was, even though we planned it. And
Right.
so for me, having that PDF like printed, and I could just be like, oh, okay, now the next thing is to get this pose, click, got it. It really only takes a couple seconds to get each shot. You can get more shots that way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super valuable. Yes, definitely. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And last but not least, there are some PDX folks in here, some Portland people who are wondering
Okay.
if you can share photographer recommendations.
Oh,
Um,
sure. Yeah.
and I know there was one in the mini
Yes.
course in the bonus section, so keep that in mind. It looked like maybe some people were having a hard time with the first link I shared, so I reshared the free mini course
Oh,
link.
uh-huh.
Um, so you can find that there, but then how would be the best way for them to get those recommendations from you?
Maybe, let's see. I would say email me, and I can give you a few different people that I've used here in Portland. I've also done a photo shoot in Arizona, which was amazing. And yeah, I feel like the Portland photographer, I've referred her quite a few people because she's she's amazing. She's so good. But most, like, there are a lot of great photographers here in Portland. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your expertise in this realm. It's a very unique skill set to have, and I think you've shared so much interesting and valuable information. I'm sure everyone here appreciates it. There's a lot of love in the comments.
yay. Okay.
And again, I shared a bunch of links with you. I'm going to go back to the YouTube, the original YouTube link that you joined, if you joined through YouTube. If you did not, you can find the YouTube link in my bios and my link tree, all of that good stuff. I'm sure it's in all Linda's stuff too. If you need it, you can reach out to one of us, but I'll put all the links in the description of the YouTube video as well. If you're looking for anything, or if you want to connect with Linda or myself directly, feel free. And yeah, thank you so much for joining. And if you do a beautiful photo shoot and you use some of Linda's tips and tricks, we would love to hear about it. So definitely share those with us as well.
Please do. I would love to see that. It keeps me inspired, like, oh, I made a difference. So that would be really sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Julie. I appreciate you helping with getting this out there and adding some value. So thank you, everybody. I'm so glad to connect with you, and I can't wait to send out this tool for everybody else who submitted their name. I'm going to send you a coupon code for 10% off if you want to purchase the tool. I'll send that to you, and then no pressure either. But have a great day, everybody. And thanks again, Julie.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah.
Have a good day, everybody. Thanks. Hope to see you again on the next one. Bye.